Councilmember Fisickelli.
Here.
Councilmember Jablonski.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz.
Here.
Mayor McKay.
Here. If we could stand for the pledge. Newell, would you please lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. If I could please get a motion to move Representative Richard Stark to the front of the line, I would greatly appreciate it.
I make a motion.
Second.
Awesome. Do we need to roll call that?
Councilmember Schroeder.
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli.
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz.
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Awesome. Richard, I'm going
I
to
think you.
jump you right on up there, buddy. Yep.
Yes, I did.
Go right ahead.
All right, Mr. Mayor, council members, I got to
did
tell you, I am absolutely.
Hold on. Excuse me 1 second.
Yes.
We need the item that he's here to talk about.
Oh, on the item itself. Okay. All right. We need a motion on the ordinance.
Read
Okay.
it.
Read it, and then we'll do it.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, supporting the efforts of the Florida Don't Text and Drive Coalition by urging the Florida legislature to make texting while driving a primary offense and providing an effective date.
I make a motion.
Second.
To approve. Yep. It's to approve. Okay. It's a motion to approve is what it is. And Dee made the motion and Steve seconded it.
And now you're up, Richard.
Now you're.
Well,
Are we going to vote?
okay.
Okay, am I ready?
You're ready.
All right.
Sorry.
Well,
My
Your
fault.
Honor, Mr. Mayor, and council members and city staff, first of all, I want to thank you. I'm actually honored that you actually voted to move me up in the agenda. I mean, this is a first in my almost 6 years in the House of Representatives. So thank you very much. This particular issue that we're discussing tonight is a big problem in the state of Florida. We read articles every single day about issues of people texting on their phones and otherwise doing other things, being distracted while they're driving. And while I love that we have the greatest technology now, I mean, the fact that you can take out your cell phone, read email, text, call, do all sorts of things, have instant communication, it's wonderful. But at the same time, it's an issue with driving in your vehicle. Now, I would like to just read this very short. This is from the Florida Don't Text and Drive Coalition, which is about your resolution. More than 100,000 crashes a year involve drivers who are texting, causing life-threatening changes, injuries, and deaths. In an effort to make our roads safer, a coalition of law enforcement organizations, businesses, and local governments have joined together in support of legislation to stop texting while driving. Florida took the first steps in banning texting while driving in 2013, but now it's time to strengthen the law. We would like to see the law strengthened by making texting while driving a primary offense, which would allow law enforcement officers to pull over motorists for texting behind the wheel. Currently, motorists can only be cited for texting while driving if they are pulled over for other reasons. Drivers who text and drive are not only a danger to themselves, but to everyone else on the road. Individuals who send messages while driving are 23 times more likely to be involved in a crash. While anything that takes your eyes off the road, hands off the wheel, or mind off the task of driving for an unreasonable amount of time can be hazardous, there is heightened concern about the risks of texting while driving because it combines all three types of distraction: manual, cognitive, and visual. And just a few more statistics. 50% of adults are reported to admit to texting. I think it's higher. I think almost everybody I speak to admits to doing this in their vehicle at times. 40% of teens have admitted that they have been in the car as a passenger with somebody who was texting while driving, and it was a dangerous situation. Also, 46 states now have a texting law, But of those 46 states, only 4 have a texting law that is not a primary offense, Florida being one of those states. Also, something I was speaking with about a few individuals here earlier, texting while driving, and this is per a few studies, while driving is 6 times more likely to cause an accident than while driving impaired. So part of the Florida Text and Drive Coalition, this is a movement going on this year. Me and Emily Schlossberg and a few members of the Senate are going around the state. We are working with cities, municipalities, towns, villages, you name it, police departments, to enlarge the texting while driving, the Florida Don't Text and Drive Coalition. And we're looking to put pressure on the Florida legislature to finally come around and make this a tougher law. And I thank you for allowing me to present this, and thank you for your resolution.
Thanks for bringing it forward. I would tell you it's a little behind. I think we should have had this years ago personally, but that's just my opinion. And I'm thankful and appreciative you're on your game and leading it. So I greatly appreciate it. Do we have any public comment related to this? Seeing no public comment. Back to us.
I do have a question. Hey, Rick, this what's this as far as this legislation that you're proposing related to the ability of the police to, after an accident, be able to look at the mobile devices and see if someone was texting? Is there anything along those lines? I mean, a lot of times these things we see it after it happens as opposed to before the accident happens.
Well, first of all, let me explain how Florida's law works right now. If a policeman or sheriff, whatever the title is, if they see an individual actually on the phone in their car texting, you cannot be cited, you cannot be pulled over. Also, the bill that was passed in 2013 also states that unless there is a traffic accident that involves death, and then it describes or certain types of injury, police cannot look at the cell phone. And the law that we're trying to change right now is probably just going to make this law a primary offense. That still may be in there. There is a lot of hesitation by the Florida legislature to make any change whatsoever. And this may be incremental. I mean, the fine is only $30. We haven't even addressed that. It doesn't have any no points on your license. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to be changed. I just came from a legislative conference in Boston, and I spoke with somebody from the state of Washington. I mean, you're caught texting in your car, it's now going to be a $250 fine with points on your license. They don't even want you to hold a phone in your hand. They want everything to be hands-free. So we are very far behind, even if this becomes a primary offense. And I don't know if that answered your question, but
No, it does.
but right now it's a very weak law, and this is going to strengthen it.
Right.
And it's still going to have weaknesses in it, but it's going to be much better.
So it's just the first or the second step in a longer journey.
Well, we're trying to do a lot of things. I already tried removing that part. We couldn't even remove that part. We're just going to keep. I mean, this may be going on after I'm not even your state representative anymore.
While. It sounds like we'll be tweaking it for a little bit.
Well, thank you for doing
welcome,
this
sir.
additional step.
Thank you.
Dee, did you have something to add? Or some questions?
I just want to say hi, Richard.
Well, thank you.
Anyone else? Gary?
Yeah. Thank you, Rick. We do appreciate it. We do appreciate your efforts. You and I spoke over the phone a while back, and you've got our full support. Moving forward.
Well, thank you for taking this step. I mean, Broward County Commission is going to be voting on this shortly. Miami-Dade has a resolution that they passed last summer. They are going to do that resolution again, and this is actually a movement throughout the state. Emily Schlossberg, who was a state representative in Boca, who's helping me with this, she traveled up to the Panhandle last week to work with a couple of counties up there that were passing resolutions. And we're also working with the various cities and municipalities all throughout the state, not just counties and police departments.
Awesome. You want to call the roll?
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Sorry.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Absolutely.
All right.
We're good.
Thank you, council members. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay.
Anything else you need from us or we can help you with?
No, I think that's going to cover it. I am just going to mention one other issue, and I'll be very brief on this. It does affect our part of the state. We have a lot of people from Venezuela who have located into South Florida. And you were seeing the same thing happen in Venezuela that happened in Cuba. Not happening the same way, not happening the same timeline, but basically Venezuela is becoming a country just like Cuba, where you're having a dictator take over, take all the rights away from the people. And I just wanted on record that many of us here in both state and federal politics are absolutely opposed to this regime and the taking away of democratic rights and human rights from the people who live there. And not only that, but it destabilizes the whole region politically with what's happening. And I just wanted to be on record and know that even though this is primarily a federal issue, I am going to be looking to do something in the Florida House of Representatives on this upcoming session.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, Rick. All right. Public comment, I think, is where we're at. We have no speakers. No speaker.
No speakers.
No public comment tonight. We sure? Okay. We make sure we have our meeting so people come out and get an opportunity, but if nobody wants to speak, that's good. All right. Board reports. Any board reports? Wow. Okay. Seeing no board reports, council member comments. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, sorry to break the streak, but I will be quick. I just want to make one note that I brought it up before, and we discussed it briefly, just to make sure that you all were also on board as far as having a discussion. But at our next meeting on the 24th, we'll be bringing forth a discussion item to talk about commercial businesses, large commercial businesses in town. And we'll be getting a kind of Robert and his staff has done some work to kind of give us a document of where we are, what works, what doesn't work, and how we may want to make some changes. So he'll be reporting on that. And then we'll just have time to discuss it and see what, if any, changes we want to make.
Are we going to start early or same time, 7 o'clock?
Same time. It's a pretty light agenda.
Okay.
So I think
All right.
we're going to be okay.
Okay.
All right.
Normally, I'd say if it's going to be a long discussion, let's bump it up to 6, but
I think it's going to be
okay. Listen, I'm good.
one of only one or two things on the agenda.
Okay.
So I think we'll be all right.
I get it.
Good. Thank you.
Anyone else? No?
Yeah.
Gary, go ahead.
I got one or two things. Normally I'm pretty brief, but I'm going to be a little
No worries.
little long-winded for me. So, Andy, if you could disseminate the information, and council members, no peeking until I get there. But at any rate, I just wanted to go over a few announcements. Everybody, there's bingo at the barn this weekend. December, is it sold out? Okay, so if you want to be, stand on the side of the road and watch everybody go ahead. But apparently that's a great thing. It's completely sold out to the max, and it's going to be a great time. And hopefully this is the first of many that we're going to have there. The 24th, we have the Flowmobile here at DMV from 9:30 from DMV here at the town hall from 9:30 to 2:30. The Ed Advisory Board is putting on a food truck, or part of a food truck event with Hawks Bluff on the 25th, which is a Friday night at 6 p.m. And they're having a big raffle, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of kids are there, and it's a good evening for everybody. And just a reminder that the 22nd on Tuesday, and it's important to note, it's Tuesday. At 7 p.m. we have our first budget hearing, the first of 3. And I urge everybody to attend this as to the, we base our whole year's activity on that, and it would be very helpful if we had public input on that. Now I'd like to segue over into the handout that Andy just passed out. And first, let me give you a little preamble to what you're looking at. Back about 6 months ago, we started with, if you all recall, the 5 acres that was out there. And the idea was to farm it out to commercial interests or to do a what if or something to that effect. And that got me to thinking, you know, we have so many what ifs, but nobody's ever actually put numbers to it. And so I tried to figure out a way and sat down with Andy, and we discussed it and we discussed it and we discussed it, and we came up with an idea where we would come up with a ad valorem revenue per acre. Now, we currently have several large parcels for sale in the town where there has been some commercial interest. We have the 43 acres on Dykes Road, and we have the newly listed 40, I think it's 42 or 43 or 44 acres on Sheridan and Flamingo. So what we did was we compiled as current numbers of ad valorem taxes as we could, and to for the commercial representation, we chose Coquina Plaza. It's a 55-acre area. It's as retail and service-oriented as you get. It's not industrial, which is different. We've already have an industrial designated area in our town out west. This is something that would be surrounded by residents, and residents would use on an ongoing basis. So what we did, and when I say we, I need to credit Andy because it was more Andy than me. I was part of mostly the thought process, but Andy did the legwork, and I believe Russell helped with some of that. We took the area of Coquina Plaza, which was 13 parcels, and we blocked it all off, and then took the ad valorem revenue for that, and we came up with a net per acre. And the ad valorem revenue was $4,246, $4,246. And if you look at the very last page, it summarizes it. And that is our town's revenue from Coquina Plaza, as it currently exists right now of 2016. We then took corresponding properties for residential, as many as we could get, and for 2014 and 15, coincidentally, we had 13 properties of various size, and the backup for that is on page 3. But and I'm trying to be brief, Mayor, so please bear with me.
Go ahead.
I'm jumping around a little bit.
No worries.
I'm jumping around a little bit here. These are all the properties that were CO'd in the last 2 years here in our town, which was the closest available numbers we could get. And that number came up to $4,032.72 in ad valorem revenue to the town. So we have these 2 net acre revenue streams coming in for comparison. This is strictly for comparison. This is real numbers, real dollars. This is from the property of Marty Care's, I almost said Lord Parrish, Marty Care's office. And we came up with a difference of $213 an acre between residential and retail commercial, not industrial. And when you do the math and you come up with the numbers and you see what a small difference that is, it really opens your eyes as to what we've got here and how we founded our town, and based on our residents first philosophy and our rural lifestyle. You know, if you expand out to $213 per acre, 10 acres is $2,134. 40 acres is $8,500. That's what we're talking about between commercial development and residential. I'm kind of happy to report that, you know, that's a very significant, what's the word I'm looking for? Minimal difference is what I'm the point I'm trying to make here. And I wanted to share this with the council once we had the numbers put in place and worked. And basically, there wasn't a lot of work to it, since it's a pretty cut and dry process of finding that out. And I wanted to answer the big question I had was, what are we really talking about? What is the real difference in ad valorem taxes to the town between commercial and residential? And as you can see, the difference is not that great. You know, so,
Can I say something?
absolutely.
It's not just between residential and commercial. There's property in this town that is vacant property, is sitting there, and is not making a dime. We're losing money on it. And like I said, it's not that I have to have it. But if no one is willing to come in and want to build it for a subdivision and put a subdivision in there, and basically that's what it's going to be, a subdivision. We're still sitting there with vacant land that isn't making any money at all. Nothing. If you take the property up on Sheridan and Flamingo, that 40-some acres there, guy wants to come in and put homes in there. Do we say 1 acre parcels or 2.5 acre parcels?
Well, it's currently zoned, that particular parcel is zoned rural ranches right now. It's 2 net acres.
So it's 2.5.
2 net.
2 net.
Two.
2 nets.
Okay. So on 48 acres, how many homes do you think you're going to put in there?
Well, we did there was a proposal done on the 43, as close as I can get, with assessor property. I think it was 29 homes, and that was at rural estates when you put in all the wetlands and, you know, all the mitigation and things of that nature.
Well, the Sessa property right now has been replatted for 1 acre sites.
To my knowledge, that hasn't occurred.
According to Larry Aarons, it has.
Andy, do you know that that's been replatted? Or is that?
I'm sorry.
Do you know that the Sessa property's been replatted?
No, but I
It
believe,
hasn't come before us or anything.
but I believe that's slated for 1 acre home sites, if I remember correctly.
No, it's rural.
Yeah.
It's rural estates.
But
that's
nothing
correct.
else. Nothing's come forward on that. No,
Yeah,
certainly
there's
not.
nothing that's come forward on that.
No, nothing's come forward on it. But, you know, there's other things to consider if it's 1 acre home sites, too. You know, how many cars are going to be, you know, bottled up and impacting Dykes Road? What will happen to Dykes Road?
Oh, I'm in total agreement here. What I'm trying to show here is that
Commercial versus residential.
yeah, that there's not much difference between the residential and the commercial.
Not much, but some. It could be a
Yeah,
significant amount.
It's very little, and I wanted to show that with real numbers, real dollar, real world numbers.
I'm going to jump in with this conversation, if I may, just a little. The only other difference is is construction costs and fees that commercial pay versus what residential pays. So there's a higher percentage paid related to commercial construction and fees and those kind of things. So there's other monies related to that. As far as once you get down to the bottom line and it's built and done, and then you do this math that he did, that's kind of the difference. But on the front end of that, there's other fees that the town would collect related to commercial that's a higher rate than what residential would be. So that's the only other thing.
And I'm not even talking
Yeah,
about
the-
the 5 acres.
You know, to look at, you know, and I'm just going to pluck one out of the air to look at, because this was discussed, fire fees or something like that, or inspection fees, things of that nature. I think, now this is where you get into the philosophical range. You get out of the hard facts and
Right.
into the philosophical range.
Right.
Because it's a what if. Basically, I think it would end up costing us more, or on the reason being is, could you envision a Coquina Plaza on the corner of Sheridan and Flamingo, and what Davies police and fire response at our price to us would be on that? They would be definitely beefing up our, you know, their whole force would have to be beefed up.
Right.
And-
But you'd collect from them additional fees and
Well,
their
then you
construction
get
fees.
spread
Yeah, but their
out, yeah.
construction fees are different related to commercial construction. So there's other monies the town would.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're significant.
I don't know what they are either. Like
you said, yeah, it's a philosophical, and if it's a what if. And what I wanted to show with this is how small the difference is between.
When it's said and done and you're
Yeah.
built and completed, that's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'd just like to say that I appreciate that this was done. I think it, you know, I think back like this had been done when Burt Raines was here, and I think everybody knew the numbers were not really as precise as we would have liked them to be. So I think this looks like it was done properly, and it is interesting to see how small that difference is. There are some fees, certainly the construction fees associated with building a commercial type of development is higher than residential, but that's a one-time shot up front, and then it's done.
Impact fees
And this is
like
what's
that.
going to happen, recur year after year after year. And I think the big thing is that when I think back to that study that was done, I'm going to say 8 years ago, it's probably about the time, just a guess. But it looked at both sides of the equation, and this is one side for the revenue. There's the other side for the expense, and to your point, the expense is going to be significantly higher as well.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that it would chew up this $213 and a lot more, and it could actually work out negatively for the town to do the commercial. So all that to say that I still think what it comes down to is that this is just a good reminder that we're here for a rural lifestyle. We're here for open space. We're here for the unique place that we are, and there's no reason to jump in and do something else because it's not at least not for any monetary reason, and I can't think of any other reason why it would make sense. So I appreciate that this was done. Thank you, Gary, for kind of taking this and thinking to do it, and then getting administration
I
to work
tried
on
to
it.
come up with a methodology that made sense, and using a per acre number, which was the only thing I could think of because we've been approached with 10-acre parcels, 40-acre parcels, on what ifs, and there was no way to do that. And then Andy, more Andy than me, we dreamed this up together and came up with a number that we could actually apply to it. That this is what would happen, based on what we have.
Great.
So, we incorporated 17 years ago. We inherited the commercial that we got, Kukina Plaza and all that, and we became a town just to stop the concrete, to maintain no lights, no traffic, no congestion, no noise, and these numbers kind of support that whole concept that we did back 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago when it started in the mid-90s. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that to you guys, to your attention. Freddie, yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Freddie.
When you talk about this, but I don't know how much y'all go down my street there. They're building a house there right now that's well over $1 million, and people are coming in our town and doing these homes because of this. They don't want to come in and build $1 million and people deal cracker box all the way around them.
Right.
But we got people, when we talk about residential income, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's just as much money as if it was a business and more.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I think that this area out here is only going to get more valuable because it only gets more unique. It only gets more special because there's
No open
every
space.
every place else in Broward County is going the other direction. We are the only ones that are really holding the line and saying no, not here. And that's so. To your point, it's just going to get more valuable, and I believe the revenues are going to grow significantly.
Yeah, if I
Anything
could-
else?
Yeah, just
Go ahead.
to finish up.
Sure.
In closing, people are moving here for a reason, and they're building very large homes, and they're investing heavily their resources, their family, and there's a reason for that. And it's not because we got another McDonald's down the street or something like that. And I don't mean to say anything bad about McDonald's, but it's they're moving here because there's cows, there's horses, there's chickens, there's geese. They can do pretty much what they want with any kind of animal, it's a whole different lifestyle that we have out here, and this basically ratifies that whole thought process. And like I said, I was answering a what if, and during that whole discussion that we had for 6 months, I was trying to figure out a way to quantify this and put numbers to this to where it would make some kind of sense. So I wanted to share that with everybody, because basically this is the final product, of that. So, and that's all I got, Mayor.
Awesome. All right. I guess, Freddie, you want anything, or you good? Okay. I just want to give everybody a heads up with this budget meeting that we're going to have coming up on the 22nd. That one of the things I want to look at really hard is the volunteer fire department. So I just want to give everybody a heads up, looking at it, discussing, and I'm going to get with the chief and talk to him and get some ideas and thought process on where we can say what we absolutely need, that kind of thing, whether we can put off some of it to next year or whatever we can do. So, and on the front lines ahead of that is finding a place to get a permanent building. I don't know if anybody's gotten back to you yet on the center of the road over there, but
we've requested an answer again.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
All right. So anyhow, I just want to give everybody a heads up on that. I don't want it to be a surprise or whatever. So anyhow, I think there's plenty of money to be saved in that regard. And in saving the money, we need to spend it elsewhere to get us a structure. So anyhow, I'm good. So let's see, legal comments. Keith, you're up to bat, buddy.
Thanks, Mayor. Russell's playing with his newest toy. And
You're passing mine.
Which is really neat. For those of you in the audience who see, the town now has a remote control secondary camera so that all meetings will always have backup.
How's the sound on
just in case. I guess we'll see later.
Okay.
The last one was on that, and the last one was very good.
So, not to interrupt,
No, please.
but is that, so I see the light is coming on and off. Does it require to have the light on? I'm wondering how much.
It's picking up lighting as it needs it. So if it's zooming in and it feels it needs a little lighting, it's adding it.
Okay.
It's not really broadcasting.
All right. Well, I'll just say it's a little annoying with the light on there, but I mean, I don't want to ruin the quality. But if it seems like it's on the edge of whether it needs it or not, and I would, all right, something to think about.
I think that ends legal comment.
No, you have more news.
No, I mean, Mayor, we had our summary judgment motion with Pines. The judge has never ruled for either municipality in this case. As a result, we go in there knowing that it was an uphill battle. The judge once again denied summary judgment and basically said you both are going to trial. So as a result of that, we're going to trial. I still recommend to all parties that they should sit down and try to figure out if there's a solution. But with that, there's always two sides to every story, and I don't think they're there yet. I mean, Andy and I waited to speak to them after the last hearing, and I mean, Andy, you can mention that
they were not interested.
There's currently no desire to talk.
Right.
So as a result, it makes it very difficult when there's one side trying to say, hey, where can we resolve this and where we can't. I see a lot of good things in the future for, what we'll do with the property and prospects as the economic climate continues to improve. And so I'm not really worried from that element. Other than that, Mayor, that's it. The town's very quiet right now, which is a very nice situation.
All right. Andy Burns, you're up to bat.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. As Keith said, the town is very quiet right now. I don't have anything else to add this evening.
Wow. Okie doke. Number 8.
An ordinance of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, ratifying ordinance number 2017-03's prohibition of cannabis-related uses in the Town of Southwest Ranches, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, this is second reading of the ordinance to prohibit cannabis sales within the Town of Southwest Ranches. This complies with state law. We enacted it originally. Now we have to reenact it, reaffirming what state law says.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, public comment's closed. Back to us. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, approving a piggyback agreement with Amroad LLC in the amount of $43,220.82 to complete the Southwest 166th Avenue striping project and the Hancock Road striping project, authorizing the mayor, town administrator, and town attorney to issue a purchase order and providing for an effective date.
Mayor, may I interrupt for a moment?
Yeah, go right ahead, Andy.
Before there's a motion and a second, the resolution that was in your book, as I've covered with you all during your individual briefings, was incorrect. The $43,220.82 was incorrect. The correct amount, which is in the final resolution, is $34,267.08. So we've a $9,000 savings in what was noted in the resolution versus the correct contract price. So the motion should be to approve the resolution at the corrected or amended amount.
$34,267.08.
Make a motion to approve at the corrected amount.
Second.
Okay. Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, public comment is closed. Any discussion up here? No? Call the question, please.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Number 11.
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Southwest Ranches, Florida, extending the zoning and progress for wireless service facilities and personal wireless service facilities as defined in Section 365.172 Florida Statute and 47 U.S.C. Section 332C7C2, adding into the zoning and progress the installation of fiber for backhaul within the town's right-of-way, directing town staff to defer the acceptance and processing of development applications, and providing the issuance of building permits, development orders, or local business tax receipts until the earlier of the date the town adopts its code revisions or December 31st, 2017, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any public comment?
Mayor, I just want to mention the city of Tampa was sued today for the exact same resolution, but our council, who's doing telecom, believes that this fully complies with the new state law. So the town is currently hired experts to draft its revised telecom ordinance, and this just puts us in a position where nothing can be enacted until our new law comes into place, which the Florida legislature said gives every municipality in the state until December 31st to enact their new law.
Okay. So, no, any public comment? Seeing no public comment. Public comment is closed. Back to us. Any additional questions?
So, Keith, I mean, you're still advising that we move forward with this in spite of that development? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
Tampa's got bigger shoes than us, so let them fight it. And, I don't think people are running to us as much as they're running to the city of Tampa for telecom. The state law is clear. It says that after the provision went into effect, which was in July, it went into effect, that all municipalities had until December 31st to enact its new laws in conformity with the state requirements. So, I think some of the telecom companies jumped the gun to go after Tampa. I don't see that being an issue here, and without it, I think we're in trouble.
Okay, good.
Okay. Call the question, please.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. Number 12, approval of minutes.
Motion
Four.
to approve
It's for all three.
all three of them, yeah.
Yeah. You want to state what they are?
You want them individually or all?
I'll
Do 'em all
make a
together.
motion to approve
Motion to-
all three, the June 22nd, June 29, and July 13th minutes.
Second.
Any public comments? Because we've been corrected before. Seeing no public comments, public comment is closed. Any discussion up here? Any questions? Any corrections? All right, call the question.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Fisickelli,
Yes.
Councilmember Jablonski,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bright Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor McKay.
Yes. All right. You want to give us some motion?
Motion to adjourn?
All right. I'll take it. Well, I didn't beat Steve.